Hello, Scorpio. And let me preface this by saying some of you may want to check out the Libra reading, because Libra was once considered the claws of the Scorpion, and it is actually all wrangled and tied up along with Ophiuchus and Sagittarius. It's almost like a whole bus, a whole camper. It's got a lot of little sections and parts to it. So I'm just saying that there because, again, we are the whole zodiac, and bigger than that, we're the solar system, baby. So that's where we come from at this channel, is getting you into your sun, into your center, into your shine, not your sun sign, yourself. Because yourself isn't ruled by a planet or a little segment or a little whatever. You're the cook up in the kitchen. You're the one with the hands that move the ingredients that go, I want pumpkin pie today. I want coconut cream tomorrow. I want some macaroons this afternoon. And you're the one going into the recipe and the ingredients called the zodiac and the different signs. That's why you follow what is speaking to your heart, not just the name of the sign, right? And that's why I try and keep my titles all true to something that's coming in there. The vibe that's in there is something that was said, so that you can know, hey, there might be a nugget up in here of myself, not of me, of you, my friend. Because that's the amazing thing about a channel, is the message begins to spread out in all these cosmic rays, and whoever's tuning in is also calling in wisdom to share here at the channel. I become wiser every day. I love it. Now, there is that touch of Libra coming in, of having like some of you checked out of your body, checked out of your life, and you've just been slugging and plugging along, like doing the thing and maybe getting people's praises or not or whatever. But there's a whole important, precious part. I can say big, but we think size and scope. But sometimes what is precious is actually very small. Think about it. We don't have diamonds this big. Where are we going to put them, right? They're like this size. It's some little treasure that you've hidden away, because that's what Libra was dealing with here. But it has begun to spring to life. This old harsh environment that was not conducive to the flourishing of that child, of that dream, of that pure heart's desire, is being transformed right now. We've moved into this. We're right up in the middle of the Pluto retrograde. It's like, fuck that, man. And now, okay. That's the hashtag for this week. It came out, this uprising energy of breaking us out of the limitation of the zodiac, of karma, of everything having that beginning and an ending, because that's where the pain is, right? And all that middle in between. But when it spirals of life, we talk about celebration, we talk about party, we're talking about connection, creatorship, uprising, like being paid for your services and enjoying the work that you do, the connection to your life, like in taking in the things that you have acquired, and like having the pleasure of them. Even if you've had them for years, relationships having this new sizzle, this new pop. It's all that type of energy, okay, friend? So you've sectioned out a half of the cards. You're very specific. And the magic, the magician, the mirror retained from the previous read. I tried to put them away, and you forced them back down, and you said, we need to talk about this. We need to have some of this here. So this magician, the mirror, is showing up very much like, kind of like the whole story of the Wizard of Oz. There's no place like home. And we know home is where the heart is. So let's get into the heart of Scorpio. No longer that vagal nerve defense system, because it is the ancient primal nervous system that has been built upon generation and generation and generation. It's where generational curses can be lodged, where karmic conditioning from what our parents haven't solved yet when we were growing up, coming on in and through stuff that we picked up when we were these little babies, and our whole cosmic egg was this sensation, picking up and storing those DNA splices and information, even the like disease on the DNA, the karma. That's what all that is. Ooh, Alfred. They like Alfred Einstein. You up in here? Are you Albert Einstein's half brother, half cousin, whatever? Are you? Are you, friend? Let's get into a little bit of fun and some revelation, okay? Because that's what we're about here, having the joy come into our world, come into life. Now, these are your background cards. I don't know what they are, so we're going to take a look in a second. You got some powerful stuff going on when you got the elephant, the decorated elephant, the golden tusk elephant, the rising sun. Ooh, your rising sun, my friend. Ooh, thank you. So Jupiter and the sun have been merging to do away with that old power of Saturn being the dominion and the dominating element. Instead of just making stuff, creating things. That comes from create. It comes from life itself. So they're talking about your new sun sign, if you need to follow one, will be your rising sign. That is where the new intelligence, it's almost like if something has squatted the territory, kind of like, well, it is, but it isn't. But imagine the board where you pop goes the weasel and you're smacking it here and there. There's something that's been smacking you down. You're not a weasel. You're just trying to get your way out of where you have been stuck in that old stuff. The things that you're tired of, that maybe some things gobbled up and they kind of ruined it. Like my ex took my car all the time because they didn't replace their car. And they just ragged it, they stripped it, they broke the seat where the seat couldn't even go back to where it belonged, that I could fit in it, broke the rear view mirror, just handled it roughly. So being handled by that rough stuff, you ready to come on, pop on out of that, and you're not the weasel, my friend. So when something's squatting and covering your sun sign, you're gonna pop up out of your rising sign, which is where the sun was always planned on coming in anyway. Well, that means you're in Ophiuchus. You're in the healed Chiron. No more living from the wound. No more having to live from the wolf. No more having to cry out to get your needs met or having to sneak about. And I don't mean like crupping up. I mean like having to figure out how to make this thing work here at this planet. Man, your wisdom is erupting all over me. I'm like, whoosh. Okay, but when we joygasm like that, it comes up out of our crown, right, friend? Because we are connected to the crown, and I hope you are, because that's what Libra was about, is tethering it. So that's what they want you to go back and listen to, is get your soul tethered for what is about to come here. So you might even pause it right now and come on back, my friend, and go check out your rising sign too, because that lionfish, it don't play. All right, that's that tower. That's something that could look intriguing, exciting, like mysterious, like, ooh, what's that? One little touch and you dead, friend. That's it. You dead. There are people that they have encouraged, divers and whoever else, to go and gather these up because they were dumped from fish tanks and put in places where there is no checks and balances, regulations. And I don't mean controlling it, but I mean keeping it in a natural balance, right? Like where they come from. Okay, here it's out of control, and that's why that thing was just whack-a-moling you. And they're saying, you know, just step out of that identity of your sun sign for a moment, that old karmic programming that has robbed you and kept you in the dark. And I don't mean the juicy, delicious dark, the life and health facilitating dark. No, I'm talking about the eternal death, the eternal cycles of things ending and making peace with that and all that. That's fine, because it conditioned you to do that. But they're talking about, honey, you so divine on a different level, because this emperor isn't one that is stuck, stagnant, stodgy, that's going to control you, because this isn't a human being. This is nature coming in with the advantage, going, look what I got to offer you here. Stand your ground, move forward. We're going to give you some guidance and wisdom in a whole different way, a power that you knew nothing of, and that those things that have been squashing you don't have access to. Erupting with pleasure. That's what I need to title this one. Okay, friend? So are you ready to erupt with some pleasure in your life? Real pleasure, like that thing that overtakes you and gives you that release, clears that vagal nerve, and you like, I can't talk about having sex with yourself, and I don't mean that kind. I'm talking about this creative, this creator, this energy, life flowing through you, begetting life, dreams coming true, dreams you didn't even know you could dream. You're like, oh, what is that for me? Yes, Scorpio. So I could just leave it there, but I knew you said keep this half of the deck set aside. You split it, and you're like, this is where our message is going to come forward from. So now that we know all the background and all the news and all the noise, this is trying to stick to you, just like it stuck in you. All right? So we unstick you now. We forgive that now. We remove that thing from your body, because you already removed it from your mind. This is all up in your body, and that is not your flavor, friend. That's not like that little bit of bitterness, that little bit of salt and that tinge that always has to be thrown in everything, and not because you're trying to. It is somewhere where you can't reach it, you can't see it, and it keeps that little bit of sourness, and you're like, that's not the note I'm going for, and I know, because it's sweet like honey. This is what's actually coming forward. This is what was stuck in your hands. So right now, I'm gonna do it. We're gonna do it like a mirror, because it's called The Magician in the Mirror, and these are energy sessions, every one of them, friend. They're communications and intelligent transmission. So we're just removing that what has been stuck to your hands. Some of you, look at me, okay? And it doesn't mean you're going to get unmarried or whatever. It just means there is no more blockage or control. Because just as much as people say put the rings on, it's going to cause it to channel more or whatever, it can restrict too. It can restrict as well. And this is your sun finger, my friend. Okay? So some of you, relationships, maybe even your parents' relationship and what you witnessed there has kept you limited and restricted, and it kept that halo squeezed down your head so tight that you can't breathe, and you get these headaches and you have these body aches and you have this inflammation and this pressure. We're clearing the other hand out as well. We're just gonna wipe the backs off. We pulling those gloves off and whatever else, because in your world, your own world, you want your fingerprints everywhere. You want your vibration everywhere, because that's what these bees do. They go back to the hive, because it's talking about your hive. It's talking about yourself, your golden self. And there's nothing missing here, friend. This is the pollination straight up in the hive, that you have everything you need in your soul, in your home. It isn't about others. It is about you. You can go out and enjoy others in the world and everywhere else, but you're not having to give of yourself in the way you think. You just live and you be your natural self, and that's what's going to be beautiful and divine, because these bees go back and they like buzz, 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 and they vibrate and they do this little dance and this little thing, the sensation, get the sizzle going through there, and all of a sudden everybody starts harmonizing, and they recognize it's a map that they're creating through those vibrations, and they're like, oh, that's where the flowers are that have all the pollen that is ready to be brought back here, that we can have the sweet nectar life in our home, in our soul. Remember your heart feeling good. Feeling safe, loved, protected, provided for, because you shouldn't have to protect yourself from yourself. That old environment, this old stuff, the checks and balances kept robbing you and smashing you and holding you down and creating true fear, true nervous system response system, keeping the world small and limited in the pinholes that you couldn't just relax and expand your gorgeous self. Because baby, this is just the first cell coming on, and it ain't a prison cell. That's why you might watch Libra and Virgo, okay? It ain't about that prison cell. This is about that whole dynamic nation, your world coming and being birthed for us, where nature takes care of itself. It's so provided and easy to do. It's not out of reach. It's not out of access. It's not offline, okay? You are active, and you are fertile, and you are blessed right now for who you are, Scorpio, not what you do. This isn't what the bee does. It's not its J-O-B, because job can be Job too. That could be some suffering, my friend. This is your life's work. This is your life's enjoyment. That's why they want us to know our purpose is to enjoy our life, because just going about living, being, and doing. That's why it's called a bee, because it be being. It's like, bzz, bzz, there's some pollen up in there. Ooh, and they get it all over. They dress themselves in it like Chanel or something. They're like, look at me, look at me. And then they go back and everybody's like, oh, where'd you get that fine outfit? Scorpio, I love you, oh my God. And then everybody's like, oh, I can go there too. And they're like, yeah, custom made in your size. And then they go storing it away in their home and they chew it through themselves, and somehow it becomes honey. That's why it's for you first, friend. The sweetness is everything that exudes from your essence, and not for others. It is that natural balance of just doing what you do, getting pollinating those flowers. It makes the fruit and the bounty for everything else, and it makes the blessing for you. All right, that's what I got to say about that. That's how we activate our hands. Seriously, y'all, you clap, okay? So if you find that you're getting back into feeling that whack-a-mole going on you, because you ain't no weasel and you ain't no mole, so you got to get out of that, get into your rising sign. It can also be clapping, because as we start to do that, it can clear the inflammation from our energy. When you've been stuck and you have this mighty power, this like compressed, compact, nuclear type power trying to come up out of you, and it had nowhere to go, it just disperses out in your body, and it's been creating pain. It's been creating pain, and then it begins to limit your actions, so it's blocked you in a multitude of ways. You could also look for wherever your Mars is, whatever sign that is, there's some little messages tucked away in there for you. Because remember, you the sun, baby. You the whole solar system, and you're about to rise, my friend. Woo, woo, I vote for you. If you vote for you, put something down in there in the comments. Leave some emojis, leave some pictures, leave some descriptions, tell your story, share where you're at, whatever else, friend. I love that you are here. And if you're here, you might subscribe. I'd love to have you join my channel and get to know more about you. And as we power this up, it brings in those messages. Tap that like button. Little touch of love. All right, rise to the top. See you, friend. Bye.